The Last of Us Part 2's story is commonly picked apart with comments like, the story was rushed. The game is filled with characters I don't even care about. Joel died way too early. Revenge bad. And despite all of the complaints, this game has a lot of great elements, like the love and hate shown through different relationships, an amazing soundtrack, and extremely satisfying gameplay. So let's rank each and every chapter of The Last of Us Part 2 to not only see which is the best, but analyze what gameplay and story elements shine in each segment, and a quote that stands out in each.
Bigot sandwiches.
And to start off,
Dad? Dad? Dad?
we start this ranking off with the first full day of playing as Abby. There were a lot of heavy emotions going into this chapter. This is where we finally get revealed the motivation of why Abby killed Joel. And it's because Joel may or may have not have taken out her dad in the previous game. Yeah, I'm not sure how anyone recognized him. This is the first time we are playing as her after 12-ish hours. But the last time we saw her, she killed Jesse. And then you're forced to play as her. Yeah, I see why many people just stop playing here. We find Abby waking up from another nightmare about her father. And we're introduced to the WLF base, along with the people Abby calls friends, and who Ellie calls fodder. It's interesting to see the different NPCs we kill as Ellie show up again when we play as Abby. Even Alice is here. Abby and her pals get sent out on a patrol where they're ambushed by Seraphites, as you're forced to fight in a war you don't care about, and crash into a Home Depot. Along the chapter, you're fighting your way using your newly found fist to take out different infected and Seraphites. And you learn about Abby's not so amazing relationships. It can definitely get awkward with her friend Mel. Manny's chill, but we won't forgive him for what he did. After we are saved from being backed up into a corner by Seraphites, we are taken to our base camp of operations to mingle with the WLFs, check out some dead bodies, and walk into a not-so-fun interrogation scene. The man interrogating the guy is Isaac, who is the leader of the WLF. He's a pretty striking character who's calm and collected, and we hear more about him than we see him due to the fact that this is literally the last time we see him for the next 2 days. Isaac plans to have Abby and Manny lead the invasion to the Seraphite Island, but Abby is more worried about Owen, who presumably shot and killed another WLF soldier to protect the Scar. And then we get to meet him in a flashback where he and Abby bond over finding an aquarium, with honestly cute moments like them jumping off a Ferris wheel into the water, finding the light within a sea lion, and we watch Abby's obsession over Joel interrupt her love life.
I know all the leads have dried up, but Joel's still out there, you know?
And in the kinda present day, we go through a pretty long gameplay section where we fight infected, find a shotgun, and fight off more Seraphites in 2 very dynamic battlefields. Abby's gameplay is able to shine, with her shotgun and fist being a great combo for any brute or enemy. Her animations always pack a punch, which can remind players of playing Joel in the first game. But this is where her story takes a surprising turn when she's abducted by Seraphites, where she is almost hung, but is saved by 2 Seraphite kids, Lev and Yara. And then we have to fight our way through the dark forest full of stalkers. This is a pretty intense section that gets you really into Abby's story, because then Abby saves the 2 kids by running hands on a brute that knocked her out in the first place and stole her backpack.
You're wearing my backpack!
Abby helps the 2 get somewhere safe, and even goes above and beyond to make sure that these 2 are okay, to the point of warning them about any enemies that could be in the area. And it's not over yet, because Abby's forced to fight against 2 more infected encounters, to where she's finally able to make it to the aquarium and find Owen. We finally get to decide on why he protects a Seraphite, and the 2 actors here really shine, as Owen tells Abby about how he wasn't able to kill an old Scar and accidentally kills Danny in an act of self-defense, where he's able to deliver the line of the section,
I don't want to fight over land that I don't give a fuck about anymore.
And after some amazing dialogue that someone else here on the platform did a whole deep dive about, Abby and Owen get a little freaky, and we end day 1 with Abby having another nightmare, but this time where she finds the kids that save her hanging. This is an extremely long chapter and a bit of a slog to get through, but you get a lot of info about Abby and her people and their background, with the gameplay sections actually being really fun and different each time. But due to the length and the emotional whiplash you feel when playing as Abby for the first time again, I feel like this section just has to sit at the bottom of the list. But I do think it actually works in the narrative's favor. Also, if you're enjoying the video so far, it would go a long way if you just subscribed or even became a member, which helps me give back to you guys, along with you getting access to perks like early access to new videos. Usually people put sponsors here, so if any brands out there want to reach out to this email on screen, it's also in the description below. It would help out a ton. Anyways, back to it. This will be Ellie's shortest day, but absolutely the most depressing Ellie day in Seattle. Ellie wakes up the day after she just beat the shit out of Nora for answers, and she starts the day with a little more depression.
Hey, look, Joel. It's your favorite.
We start by having a conversation with Jesse, who just realized after being with Dina for a night that she's pregnant, and he'll eventually be a father, and tries to convince Ellie that they need to go back. Ellie rebuttals, trying to convince Jesse, and probably herself, that they need to find Tommy, so they can bring him back home, and they agree upon this, and so they set out to find him, by meeting him where they think Abby will be at. The two set off in the depressingly withered away streets of Seattle, as there's probably enough rain going on here to prevent a drought. There's a small moment here where Jesse and Ellie stumble upon what seems to be a Comic-Con, and they theorize about what the place could be used for.
Wait, what was happening here?
A gathering for people who are really into this stuff. Like you, basically.
You were born in the wrong time, man.
It's a nice change of pace being with Jesse. The conversations are nice.
I used to think I had a crush on you.
Really?
I mean, you're handsome and whatever, but I'm not into your type.
What, Asians?
Yeah, that's obviously what I meant.
High-fiving Jesse is cool. We really get to know him in this short segment before we have to make our way to the mall, where we overhear that a sniper has been taking out a lot of soldiers nearby with a backup on the way, and the two deduce that it's obviously Tommy. So we're going to him, right? It's nice to see someone directly challenging Ellie's mindset, because here, Jesse's absolutely in the right in wanting to go look for Tommy. Though Ellie is dead set on finding Abby, to the point where this is where the two split up, and Ellie forces her way through the soldiers patrolling the area to steal their boat. This is a challenging section that really focuses on trying to get an advantage on your enemies, as it feels like they're everywhere. And there is water everywhere. The place is completely flooded, which makes it easier for Ellie to travel around on this boat. And this is where you get some puzzles, find secret things, and fight more enemies. Maybe it's just because I've been playing this game for so long, but I feel like all the boat stuff kind of just gets a little boring. Just driving around with all the beautiful scenery the game provides to you. I mean, it's a change of pace, and it really feels like the world is trying to tell Ellie to go back. But I still think this segment's a little too long. But we are eventually forced to make a stop at an arcade, where we accidentally fall through the floor perfectly into an arcade employee that was forced to only play Miss Pac-Man. This is where you're able to dump all of Ellie's utilities, because this is the last time you're finding anyone as Ellie for a fairly long time. After the fight, she's able to finally venture on to the aquarium, where she's faced with extremely strong waves and a faulty battery. But it doesn't matter, because soon she's swept away. This section's equally as beautiful as it is eerie. Like, the visuals are top notch here. The lighting of the Ferris wheel as Ellie closes in on her target. But what she finds is not Abby, but just brings more destruction as she has to stab her last dog and finally sees what the full length of her revenge quest brings her. This is a really well performed scene, like most scenes in this game, but all the performances here are put to a 10 as Ellie tries a similar tactic to what Joel did to get Mel and Owen to point where Abby is on a map. But it all goes wrong when Owen just gets too close. Mel charges Ellie with a knife, but we're able to easily overpower her. She walks over to Owen, trying to get any answers, but he just mouths something to her.
Fuck is she?
But I specifically enjoy this moment where Ellie falsely hears Joel's voice when it's actually Tom. This path has been nothing but painful for Ellie. And with her accidentally leaving a map to her hideout, it was about time for the pain to start to spread to the people around her as well. Back at the theater, the three debrief on how they're returning home, with Ellie still not satisfied with letting Abby live. Jesse has a little one-on-one conversation where he tells her why he came back for her.
My friend's problems are my problems.
You're such a sap.
All right, how about, my friends can't get out of their own damn way?
Those last words ring true as they overhear some commotion going on in the other room. I think despite how shocking it is, Jesse's death being extremely quick and glossed over makes it almost realistic in a way, due to how Ellie has bigger fish to fry at this moment, as Abby already has the advantage on most of her squad. Abby is crazy imposing here, able to be a better Joel than Ellie could be during this journey, forcing her to stand face to face, unarmed, and this is where the game gently shifts to Abby's perspective. It's a pretty depressing day, with very little light at the end of any tunnel, as Ellie just brings death upon death to wherever she goes. I think this is also where Ellie's story gets the most shocking. But to get there, Ellie has to go through a long boat section that kind of drags on longer than I would want it to, due to the fact that it's just not as interesting on being on the ground. But the story here is still so strong, with Ellie and Abby's days finally merging, even though we cut right before the big showdown. A bold choice that made players piss their pants and full on quit the game. But hey, I think that's pretty hilarious. Next on the ranking, I have Ellie Day 1 in Seattle. This is the second chapter of the game that follows a pretty upsetting chapter. So this is a pretty long chapter that starts off pretty slow, as it follows Ellie and Dina's travels through an unforeseen faction, the WLF. This is the first time Naughty Dog toys around with having an open world section with many different shops and areas you can explore, which after an explosive intro, this may feel like a slow drag due to being forced to slow down. Slowing down here does actually help you get closer to your new companion, Dina. In classic Naughty Dog fashion, Ellie and Dina will converse and share different stories and tidbits about their characters. Like, Ellie tells Dina about the second time she shot someone, and Dina shares her history about her family and her Jewish
You never
identity.
struck me as much of a believer.
Nah, but I like coming from a long line of survivors.
You mean after Outbreak Day?
That, and the Inquisition, and the Holocaust. My family always made it out alive. Barely.
Dina is really the light of the chapter, offering a more hopeful commentary than Ellie's slowly deteriorating mental health. In the downtown section, there's many locations you will be visiting, like a hotel where you find infected and stumble across 2 WLF soldiers that were tortured and killed by Tlou2, who the pair has been trying to find within Seattle. It's pretty cool to see how the things we know within the first game come up again within this game. Like how Ellie's able to play the guitar for Dina in a totally optional cutscene. It's crazy how there's some players that completely skipped over this beautiful cutscene. This is actually one of the more rare moments having any happiness to it. More locations you can find within this area are a bank that was in the midst of being robbed shortly after Outbreak Day, a synagogue with crazy rope physics and realistic dust effects, and a courthouse full of infected. After your shenanigans in the open world segment, you are treated to one of the most heartbreaking scenes of the game. Yo, Rip Horsey though, had fun writing you. This is where the day ramps up as we follow Ellie's mental health worsening as she finally takes out one of the people from Abby's group. And from here, you're forced to face your first set of encounters with human enemies as you fight your way out of the elementary school, gas stations, and a radio tower with a path of explosive monsters. At the radio tower, the pair finds multiple WF soldiers dead, and another one of Abby's friends, also dead. But shortly after, company shows up and forces the two to make a dash for the tunnel. This is where we properly have our first encounter with both human enemies and infected enemies in the same room as us. It's fun to play around the two opposing factions and see them fending off each other with this game's advanced AI system. But we have no time to marvel about that, because soon, Dina and Ellie are trying to escape the swarm of infected when Ellie's gas mask breaks, forcing her to reveal her immunity.
No! Don't take it off! Stop! Ellie, stop! What? No! Ellie, no! Stop!
This scene was great, and I love how quick it has to be, as it shows Dina would literally die for Ellie. The two fight and claw their way out and away from the infected to try to seek refuge in a theater. And now they have time to confess something they're both holding back, where they talk about Ellie's immunity and Dina reveals that she's pregnant.
I think I'm pregnant.
Okay, but like, imagine if instead they just started finger blasting. Wouldn't that be good writing? Ellie's pretty pissed hearing about this news, to the point where Ellie's inside thoughts slip out.
Okay, I didn't want to be a burden.
Well, you're a burden now, aren't you?
We end this day with Ellie solving a couple problems to turn on the power, and her finding a guitar that reminds her of their future days.
It's starting to sound like something.
Ugh, I suck.
Just need to build up your calluses, that's all.
Man.
We get a really special flashback segment where we see Joel and Ellie united once again, as Joel surprises her with all of her special interests on her birthday. Yeah, this segment's just really heartbreaking and just a reminder of how good things were versus how they are now. And it's just the craziest stab in the heart from little jokes between the two.
Oh, wait. One of the dinosaurs is here. Joel, it's for you.
Joel and Ellie try to educate each other on dinosaurs, putting hats on dinosaurs, the fun mirror expressions, and the most passionate example of love within a scene ever. Like, oh my god, I meant to. This section's truly one of the most beautiful highlights of the game, and we end it with a reminder why this relationship went so wrong in the first place. Ellie's day one is a slow roller coaster of emotions that takes you on the full ride of death, sorrow, and some light at the end of the tunnel. An extremely solid day as Ellie, with some fun gameplay segments along with it. Coming in next is the ending stretch of the game, Santa Barbara. But I'm also actually going to include the farmhouse chapter of the game because it's too short to be considered its own chapter. It also leads up into Santa Barbara, and it's my video. The farmhouse is yet another depressing chapter. It follows Ellie, Dina, and their new baby, Jesse Joel, also known as JJ. And the things around the house are really cute, like all of Ellie's drawings, pearl jams to dance with your beautiful wife to, and you get to stare out into the equally as beautiful land that the two have gotten familiar with. This area serves as a gentle reminder of the beauty that the world holds, but it's sadly cut short as Ellie's PTSD still kicks in from time to time, which causes her to have some bad days and some not so bad days. We follow her on a particular day where she's haunted by the fact that she couldn't save Joel. So it's fitting that a couple days later, Tommy shows up and gives her exactly what she needs: the location of Abby.
That's gotta be her.
Ellie is shown to have increased trouble sleeping at night, to the point where she gets up to play some guitar, and reminisces on the last night she had with Joel, where it was at a party in Jackson. Even Jesse makes an appearance, where Ellie and Dina dances a bit, and even share a kiss. But an old guy calls Dina what Jesse describes as a
Not so nice word.
and Joel intervenes and Ellie tells him off. And we cut back to present day where Ellie attempts to leave Dina and the baby in the middle of the night, but Dina interjects, trying to convince her to stay with all she
I
can.
don't plan on dying.
Yeah, well, neither did Jesse. Or Joel.
It's hard. We understand both of them here, which makes it hurt more when you can see in both of their faces that Dina knows Ellie's already made up her mind. We catch up with Abby and Lev in Santa Barbara in search to find the Fireflies, and they stumble across a house and a basement where they find a radio connection to a Firefly station, and they are happy to recruit Abby and Lev due to her previous connection to the Fireflies through her father. Their celebration is quickly cut short as they are jumped, folded, cooked, and chopped by a faction in the region, the Rattlers. Ellie finally makes her way to Santa Barbara, where after 2 encounters with the infected, where she's caught in a trap and hung up for the Rattlers to find her. And yeah, she packs them up both pretty easily because she's just that girl. With the information she got from him, she finds their base where they're holding slaves. So obviously we mow down all the enemies in our way, which now come with extra armor, making it even harder to kill them in one shot. But no worries though, because they're infected around, being chained down to the ground. And we can free them to use them against the Rattlers as they fall to their own captives. After probably the hardest section in the game to get through, Ellie gets jumped by a guard, but is able to get the upper hand and allows the people to free themselves. And Ellie does not gaff. She just wants the location of Abby so bad that she almost gets into a shootout with these people that she just saved. Ellie slowly walks out into the depressingly dark beach, and man, it really feels like this is the most haunting section of the game, with screams yelling out in the back as the fire roars on, and gunshots ring out as Ellie walks through the dark beach. And what you find here is not Abby, the ruthless killer, but Abby, the weak, frail person who has only one person left in her life, who is also hanging on by a thread. Ellie practically saves the two here, and Abby even leads her to 2 perfect getaway boats, but she can't do it. She can't just leave behind the memory of Joel, tainted by this woman, so...
I can't let you leave. I'm not doing this.
They fight. This fight is draining, it's exhausting, it's a gory mess. If you've truly put in the effort in caring about what the game has said so far, at this point you're screaming at your screen telling them to stop. But no, it's either Ellie or Abby, but it doesn't have to be. Ellie lets Abby go. The reason is unclear, but it's clear that she has gained nothing from this entire time she's killed before, and this time wouldn't be any different.
Just take him.
Things only start making a bit more sense. With leading up to the last few scenes of the game, we find ourselves back at the farmhouse. It's depressing, cold, and all the things that made this house a home are gone with Dina. All Ellie has left is her room with her things, and a reminder of what she lost in the first place. Here's where we finally get the last time Ellie and Joel spoke to each other. We get to see Ellie finally try to reconnect with Joel, despite him betraying her trust. But he affirms to her that all he did for her was in the name of love, and she accepts it. She doesn't know if she could forgive him for that, but she says that she'd like to try. And just to twist the knife on the way out,
I'll see you around.
Yep.
And we jump back to the present, where she takes a moment to reflect, sets down the guitar Joel gave to her, and walks off into a future sequel that should eventually happen. Some may not understand the weight of an ending like this, but it's so much more hopeful than in the alternate universe where she kills Abby. Ellie leaves room for herself to still grow while not giving in to her complete darkest desires, and she learns to stop the cycle of violence by finally walking away. Genuinely cannot get any more peak cinema than that. I will not lie. That's why I have the chapter so high up. Next up, we have Abby Day 2. A very thrilling chapter that starts Abby off hot on the heels of the Seraphite kids that she found and helped out the night before. She immediately gets into a fight with a group of Seraphites, which she folds them like a burrito. She finds Lev, who's been protecting Yara due to her worsening arm. Abby thankfully knows where the two can get some medical help, and finds Owen at the aquarium, where after a short misunderstanding on both sides, Mel comes out and agrees to look at Yara's arm. Abby begins her quest for redemption as she tries to help the two, and the two take a Seraphite shortcut to the WLF hospital. This is where we get some classic Last of Us bonding moments, like how we get to learn more about Abby and Lev as these two opposing factions of a war learn more about each other. Abby almost takes up a big sister role as she's slowly starting to care more and more about these kids, like attempting to calm down Lev's worry about his sister, constantly telling Lev to watch out for hazards that Lev's already aware about, and Lev even tries to explain to Abby why the two were on the run in the first place.
What the hell did you do?
I shaved my head.
They want to kill a little boy because he shaved his head.
I wasn't allowed. It's a rule. I broke it.
Jeez.
Another thing I like is how gentle Abby's progression is, with how she talks about the Seraphites. Usually anyone in the WLF just calls them scars, to the point where Ellie even picks up on it. And we can see throughout the day as she tries to change the way she talks about them. Unrelated, but Lev is an absolute G. He was able to defend him and Yara for an entire night. He's able to do amazing parkour at high altitudes. And he's able to tank a freaking gunshot to the shoulder and get straight into the fight. Here's actually where we hear a Seraphite call Lev by his dead name. And after, we get this semi-heartwarming exchange.
Did you hear what they called me?
Yeah.
Do you want to ask me about it?
Do you want me to ask you about it?
No.
Okay.
Abby's quiet understanding of the situation speaks volumes here. We also see in a Seraphite praying corner that Abby actually takes the time to praise the craftsmanship and question their culture for a bit here. After this, we get a really entertaining combat section where we're faced with multiple Seraphites within multiple different levels, like floors of grass, areas to jump down from and launch onto your enemies, to shooting enemies from afar. This section is a real blast to play through. Lev tries to assist in easing Abby's fear of heights, even though Abby's about to have the fear of God struck into her.
Holy shit, Lev!
This did not end well. The two are now forced to fight their way through a hotel full of infected in the worst environments possible. Like, this building is a mess. We even get Abby's first set of encounters against stalkers. Abby finds Lev a gas mask, and the two descend lower and lower through the building and to their first boss fight with a bloater. Finally, after the battle, the two are able to get some air as they're finally at the hospital. Here's where they have to split up, and Abby gets to stroll around a bit before getting handcuffed due to Isaac announcing her as AWOL. Nora actually helps her out of captivity and guides her to where she can get the medical supplies she needs. There's something down here with her, and it's hungry. Traveling through the depths of the hospital, we come to find out this was the ground zero for the virus. As Abby eventually stumbles across the supplies we need, the beast that has been lurking down here has also stumbled across us. This is absolutely the most terrifying segment of the game, as it starts off with Abby trying her best to flee from the behemoth of a foe, but it eventually grabs hold of Abby, and somehow she was able to fend it off long enough for the floor to collapse, as we're now put into a solo boss fight against this guy. And this is the Rat King, an amalgamation of different infected patients all into one, to the point that even an involved stalker is able to grow out of it. This is a great boss fight with an insane atmosphere that makes you run away to get enough space to dump out all of your loadout onto the foe. Abby manages to survive this battle against the king and returns to Lev with the supplies, and so they flee back to the aquarium. The music throughout the game has been great, but here specifically it's able to fill the silence with so much emotion. Finally back at the aquarium, Abby and Lev wait to hear about the operation on Yara. Abby convinces Lev to pet a dog, bringing their arc from earlier full circle, as Owen comes out to tell the brother that he can see his sister now. Abby and Owen get a brief moment together, and they reflect upon themselves, with Abby asking,
"What happened to us?"
and Owen concludes that
Maybe we stopped looking for the light.
Abby goes in to check on Yara, and she sees the two together again, perfectly under a shining light, and we can see in Abby's eyes that she is relieved and something inside of her feels lighter. We quickly cut to one of Abby's dreams as she's walking through the Firefly Hospital once again, and when she opens a door, she sees her dad looking back at her with a smile. Abby's Day 2 is an emotional roller coaster that focuses on Abby trying to rebuild something that is broken inside of her, and it really helps for the game's overall narrative, with Abby helping these two kids from the opposing side. It's a pretty interesting turn to take the character, and a great choice that would have major effects on the rest of her story. Alright, before I say what the next day is, I have to come clean. Before making this video, I looked at other people's tier lists, and most people agreed that this is one of the worst days in the game. But in a way, what makes it so bad is also what makes it really good. It's probably one of the most depressing openings of a game, just like how the first game was. The Jackson chapter has one job: make you feel comfortable, ease you in, then put you straight into the worst thing ever. It's sudden, it's disappointing, it's rage-inducing, it's everything. So, let's talk about it. The game starts with Joel recounting the events of what happened at the Firefly Hospital to Tommy. It sets up for what the game will ultimately be about, and it allows us to see the two brothers together once again. There's so much said, not only in the dialogue, but in the eyes. And after, we set off to Jackson as the opening credits roll, as we ride off into the sunset with our horses. Tommy sends Joel off with his thoughts on what Joel did at the hospital.
Can't say I'd have done different. I'll take it to the grave if I have to.
After, Joel shows up to Ellie's house, which is actually just a room in his backyard, and he finds her drawing and listening to music. The conversation is awkward, as we can obviously see that they're struggling to adjust to having a quote-unquote normal life while establishing their relationship. Joel even stumbles on trying to be a comedian. Joel eventually shows her a guitar that he fixed up and plays her an honestly beautiful song sung by Troy Baker. He ends up giving her the guitar along with the promise to teach her how to play, keeping the promise he had with her in the first game. We cut to 4 years later, where Ellie is being woken up by Jesse.
Hey.
Morning.
They banter a bit about how Dina kissed Ellie, and Jesse acts like he cares, but he's the goat.
I'm messing with you, man. I don't care.
We found out that there was a little something that happened between Joel and Ellie the night before, and it had to do with this bigot who would like to apologize to Ellie with his bigot sandwiches. After that, we're introduced to Dina, which is interrupted by a snowball fight with some kids in the community. Yeah, and we freaking decimated. The two then make their way to the stables to prepare to go on a patrol on a nearby route. We then get a little perspective shift to a new group that we find out is quite close to Jackson, and that they've actually been looking for. Back with Ellie and Dina, the two talk about previous relationships and current ones as they reach the lookout. And from there, they go and search the nearby town to clear out any infected. When they stumble across a market with signs of possible infected. This section serves as a tutorial on how to shoot, throw bottles, and general stuff that you'll be doing for the rest of the game. On the way to the next lookout, the two are caught by a blizzard and forced to go and take shelter in a nearby library that just has a lot of weed. So the two get stoned and, let's just say, get boned. Back with Abby, she has been caught in a horde of zombies, and this very terrifying running away scene that goes on long enough for her to flee and get saved from a zombie by Joel. Oh, and Tommy's here too. Now the three are forced to hold out for a short period of time, and Tommy eventually is able to get them a way out, and so they flee to where the brothers are keeping their horses, and after a brief introduction / biggest mistake,
Tommy, that's Joe.
Abby tells the two that her group is hiding out in a nearby building, and because it seems like it would be safer than where they are now, they decide to quickly make their way there. While all of that's happening, Ellie and Dina are having a talk about Ellie's zombie bite, but Dina obviously doesn't believe her. But that's just when Jesse starts to come in, and he's all worried because no one's heard from Tommy or Joel since they left that morning. Back with the brothers, they've safely gotten to the mansion Abby's group has been holding out in. And honestly, I'ma just play the first part of this.
How long y'all been here?
Since yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yep.
What are y'all doing out this way?
Just passing through. You two live nearby?
We do. A few hours down the hill. Y'all should come back with us, restock before you head out.
Appreciate it. I'm Mel, by the way.
Tommy, this is my brother.
Joe.
Y'all act like you heard of us or something.
Because they have.
The way this happens is so shocking, so sudden. It gets you scared, riled up, and it doesn't help that this happens within 2 hours of playing the game. So it just makes you feel like you've been robbed. But that's just what makes it so good. Ellie eventually ends up in the room, and it's truly shocking how good Ashley Johnson's performance here is.
You're gonna fucking die!
Because she's really selling Ellie's terror and rage here. And when Abby finally swings that final blow, you are put exactly in Ellie's shoes, and it completely works here for me. After one hell of an afternoon, Tommy checks up on Ellie, who I'd imagine has already thought of 30 different ways to kill Abby. They debate on how they're gonna take this, if they're going after her, if it's even safe. Ellie's already made up her mind, but Tommy just wants to keep her safe. So they agree to wait out just one more day, and they try to hug it out a bit, but I don't think Tommy can handle all that. A death like that is so rough, especially for the morning after, as she spends it trying to reconnect herself with Joel, with being at his grave. After her and Dina shows up to his house, and oh my god, I can't handle this part. It's just so sad seeing all the things he left behind, what activities he was up to, what his interests were, and what he valued. We're allowed to grieve as long as we need to here with Ellie, but eventually Maria's here to tell them that Tommy has gone after Abby's group by himself. And she allows the two to take a horse and ammo to follow after him and bring him home. It's an extremely depressing start of a game, but it perfectly works with aligning your views with Ellie. And for that, it has to be top 3. It's sad to see Joel go out the way he did, but not all of our heroes can go out in a blaze of glory. Choosing which of the last 2 days is the best was very difficult. So instead of picking one now, I'll be covering both, then deciding the winner afterwards. Starting off with Ellie Day 2. Ellie wakes up alone in the theater and finds her pregnant girlfriend throwing up in a bucket while listening to the radio she spent all night fixing up, just to track down the known locations of Abby's friends. And that's when the two learn about a lone male trespasser taking out WLF soldiers in Hillcrest. So, with Dina's good luck charm, Ellie sets out to Hillcrest, where we're able to uncover the town's lore like the expert hunter Boris, but eventually we drop into our first WLF encounter of the day. And oh my god, they have dogs now! These sick beasts will smell you, and when they find you, they will do nothing but their best to take your ass down. The dogs are pretty vicious, but you're able to avoid them if you're careful. After some exploring, Ellie confronts the now infected Boris and acquires his bow, which immediately becomes useful as she fights through waves of WF soldiers along with their dogs. This section really gets you flowing. By now you'll have a grasp of the tools that the game presents you, and now you've been given a completely silent weapon that's deadly at any range if you're good with your shots. This section becomes a blast to play, with it being one of the most thrilling sections of the game, as you're faced with multiple groups of the WLF as you progress through the city, just taking out and cleaning house with anyone that gets unnoticed. We jump out of a window and are grappled by the lone male trespasser, Joel. I mean Jesse. So now with the help of Jesse, we clear out the nearby soldiers and try our best to steal their truck. And what incites an absolutely thrilling shootout experience with Jesse behind the wheel. The chase only halts when we accidentally crash and infected start popping out of the woodworks. This section feels like a Universal Studios interactive ride in the best way possible. And it ends with the two landing in water and surprisingly still with all their body parts. The pair make it back to the theater, where Dina and Jesse are able to reunite. And maybe Ellie's a little jealous? Ellie's mind wanders to back when Tommy took her out to go shooting with the sniper, before they joined up with Joel, which is where we start to see the growing strain between Ellie and Joel. This segment is a good reminder to us and Ellie to who we've lost. We even get a fake out where a bloater goes for the kill on Ellie, and when Dad's strength pulls through and Joel takes him down. We end the flashback when the two comes across a pair of dead infected. That was a couple that fled from Jackson previously. Ellie takes this moment to bring up what happened at the Firefly Hospital. So they get into an argument, and Joel tries to end it by cementing it in Ellie's mind that there was no cure. They can only do what they can for today. So back in the present day, Ellie heads after Nora, which along the way we do more exploring, fighting, and eventually we make it into a building full of our first encounters with terrifying stalkers. While we're trying to escape, one of the stalkers sends Ellie flying out of a building and into a nearby sewer stream. After making it out the sewers, she decides that she will need to cut through a nearby park, which may be her worst decision yet. She's then ambushed by Seraphites and forced through several intense encounters that introduce their stealthy, whistle-based tactics, and even runs into her first brute. After all of Ellie's struggles, she finally makes it to the hospital, where she's able to sneak in pretty easily and get the drop on this unsuspecting gamer.
Don't make a fucking sound.
Ellie's put through one more test of resilience, before truly stepping into territory she can't come back from. That being after she's gunned down the patrolling soldiers, infiltrates deeper into the hospital, and finds Nora.
Don't scream.
Very tense, but it all goes wrong when Nora's able to get the upper hand. So we have to chase her all the way to the other side of the hospital and into the deepest parts of it, where it's full of infected. Ellie's able to track her down again to corner her. And here is where Ellie truly steps into a path of no return, when she starts to interrogate a soon-to-be infected Nora who's already dying in pain. Ellie gives her a decision, saying,
Because I can make it quick. Or I can make it so much worse.
but Nora stays loyal, refusing to give up her friend's location, so Ellie proceeds to torture her more until she can get some answers. We cut to Ellie making it back to the theater, visibly shaken up by what she has done. She lets the two know the location of Abby, before we get a sort of sweet scene of Dina doing her best to comfort and clean Ellie, before we get a flashback to 2 years prior, to when Ellie found out the truth about what happened at the Firefly Hospital. This is where we get the reason why Ellie and Joel has grown so distant. Ellie was deeply hurt about the truth of what Joel did to quote-unquote save her. It's an emotional scene where we understand where both characters are coming from, and we end the day with Ellie saying,
I'll go back. But we're done.
Day 2 tested both the player and Ellie. Definitely the best day in terms of gameplay, and Ellie's journey throughout the entire day really shows the lengths that she's willing to go through, and we get bits of pieces of her and Joel's falling out. It feels like Ellie's in her own world here, where she's too determined for revenge, which makes it honestly pretty entertaining to see her go through it all. Abby shows real growth when she wakes up calm for the first time in ages, but that piece quickly ends when she finds Yara and Lev arguing, before shortly getting into argument with Mel, and it ends with her saying,
You're a piece of shit, Abby.
"Yeah, that chair definitely deserves it." Yara attempts to comfort Abby, but they quickly focus on finding Lev, who appears to have ran off somewhere. So the two travel around the aquarium, talking as they find a gift that may make Lev happy. After, Owen pulls Abby aside and tries to see if she'll go to Santa Barbara, where maybe the Fireflies could be regrouping. Abby knows Mel wouldn't allow her to tag along with Owen, when Owen delivers what I think is one of the core messages of the game.
I know it's a fucking mess. I know. But we can choose to be happy. Happy. We're allowed to be happy.
And that's when Yara screams in the other room as Lev has stolen a boat and is heading straight for their home island. Abby and Yara plan to take a boat from a nearby marina. Though when they arrive, Abby has Yara stay behind once they hear gunfire. So when Abby proceeds closer to the gunshots, Manny runs into her and the two tries their best to close in on this eagle eye sniper that will nip you if you peek out for a bit too long. Eventually the two will have him cornered, but that's when Manny gets a haircut he didn't ask for. Just a little off the top, he said. Abby is reasonably shocked and emotionally hurt by this, so in hopes to get some sort of justice, she tries to follow the sniper outside, when it turns out that the person that we've been trying to hunt down has been Tommy. He's back for blood, but sadly gets third-partied by Yara and pushed off the side of the pier. Abby quickly gathers herself and rushes for the two to grab a boat so they can head to the Seraphite Island ASAP. The two make it to the island, and along the way to Lev, Abby learns more about the culture of the Seraphites, and we can see the WLF is slowly starting their invasion. They find a devastated Lev fresh after killing his own mother in an act of self-defense, and the three flee as the island erupts in gunfire. After cutting through abandoned buildings as WLF soldiers fill the streets, we even see a group of Seraphites that the soldiers got to first. The plan is to get to the docks to find a new boat and escape, but shit in The Last of Us Part 2 gets serious quick. Abby simply does not waste time. Look how she takes him down so quickly. Lev goes to console Yara's body as more soldiers rush to their location. Turns out it's Isaac and his men. Abby desperately tries to reason with them, but it falls on deaf ears.
Not one of them, please.
Abby, move.
God damn it, he's just a kid.
You have 3 seconds to get away from that scar. 1,
You really gonna shoot me?
2.
I'm not fucking moving.
Yeah, honestly, that might have been worse than Joel's death. Abby is really lifting a mountain on her back today, while she's able to quickly bring her and Lev into a nearby building, and she tries her best to keep moving with Lev after his second loss within the past hour.
You're my people.
Genuinely one of the best lines in the game. Top 3 for sure. Abby assures Lev that they need to make it off the island, as the next set of enemies are actually now WLF soldiers. So now Abby is forced to fight against her own faction to defend a person from their opposing faction. It's really moments like this that make this day particularly interesting, as we not only begin to fight soldiers previously on our side, but we come across a shootout at a fast food restaurant between the Seraphites and WLF. And so yeah, we murk every single one of them. So then we can steal their horses and begin to ride off into the fiery war that continues to burn down the island. We are literally writing down the end path of what revenge and obsession will give these characters, but on a bigger and upscaled level. We're forced to ride through the burning village due to the fact that the boats are on the other side. So yeah, I'm sure it'll be a breeze to get through. Well, at least the horse got away. Our last few encounters as Abby here have us as the third party to the two factions fighting each other. I'm also pretty sure that this is the first time we have two groups of human enemies in one encounter, where they're both fighting each other and fighting us. We leave this encounter unscathed. We aren't out the woodwork just yet, as a building collapses on Abby, separating her from Lev. We quickly have to get to Lev, so we're forced to leave our backpack and into a vicious one-on-one fight with the brute that ends with a gruesome kill. Throughout all the horror, loss, and death, the two have finally made it to the boat and are able to make it back home to the aquarium, which I'm sure is perfectly fine, right guys? Oh wow, who would have seen this coming? Abby's completely fair on breaking down here. She just had the most awful day, so it's completely fair when Lev hands her the map that Ellie left. It was on site for the Jackson crew. We cut to Lev and Abby in front of the theater, where they find Tommy chilling in the lobby, and Abby's able to quickly get him defenseless and on his knees. The commotion alerts some people nearby, but Abby is just quicker. It's nice to see how slightly different this is from Ellie's POV. Like in Abby's perspective, she's able to see Lev standing off to the side, but in Ellie's, we never even knew he was there. Abby turns her gun onto Ellie, but Tommy attempts to take the gun from her and takes an arrow to the knee. Yeah, I'm sure we all thought he was dead. Yeah, I'm still not sure how he lived that. Abby chases Ellie through the theater as we realize we have to fight Ellie. It's so conflicting as a player to do this, due to the fact that by this point, we've been on Ellie's side, and we would want to do the fight as her, but by this point, Ellie's decisions have made her more of a villain at this time, whereas Abby has tried to do more good throughout her last 3 days, so it almost looks like she's more of a hero. We play this boss fight trying to sneak around Ellie, similar to David's boss fight in the first game. We need to get behind Ellie to get the jump on her. She's tough though, which makes sense for the fact that she's actually a demon when we play as her, and she gets stronger throughout the fight as Abby is eventually able to slam Ellie through the floor. So now she's wielding her shotgun, and you do not want to be spotted by her. It only ramps up after Abby's able to get her hands on her again, and after a quick scuffle, she's now able to plant trap mines and throw Molotovs at Abby. After we get our hands on her for the last time, Abby is able to get Ellie on the ground by breaking her arm and starts to beat her senselessly before Dina comes in, doing her best. Lev comes in with the save for Abby, so she starts to bash Dina's skull into the ground, while Ellie pleads for her to stop.
She had nothing to do with this. She's pregnant.
Good.
Is Abby right here? Didn't Ellie not only kill most of her friends, including a pregnant lady, but didn't she also kill like a lot of other soldiers? But didn't she only kill these people because Abby killed Joel? But didn't Joel only get killed because Joel killed her dad? But didn't Joel only kill Abby's dad because he was planning on killing Ellie? Not to bring up Arcane, but I think Silco said it best.
Killing is a cycle, one that started long before Vanda and me, and that will continue long after the two of you.
Lev interjects by calling her name, which causes her to hesitate, just long enough for her to reflect on her actions and choose to spare Dina. And instead of taking them out while they're still weak, she looks down at Ellie and says,
Don't ever let me see you again.
and walks away. It's safe to say that Abby's Day 3 is quite literally peak cinema. The arc that Abby's put through is simply too compelling, and we get so much emotion from this section of the game, which of course comes with all the loss we get throughout this day. Yara, Jesse, and even Isaac, Mel, and Owen, even though we might care about them even less. And to end our character's time in Seattle being a boss fight versus Ellie and Abby, but we fight Ellie as Abby, is incredibly bold and surprisingly well done, to the point where I'd like to cover this boss fight in a whole video by itself. So let me know if you'd like to see that by subscribing to the channel and maybe even liking this video. The support helps the channel and my ego, but this video has been long enough. So if you'd like to see these videos come out sooner, please consider becoming a member today. And time to disappear again until my next video.